little tincture potion that I got. I would say probably when I was around 12, my dad flew me to go meet with this witch who lived in the mountains, and she made this specifically for me. She told me that it would make a young Canadian pop star fall in love with me. So yeah, I've been taking this one for years. Absolutely love it.
Segovia, back with another video. Hope everyone out there is having a good day. Y'all, we're back. We're in vacation mode. I got a lot to do after this reaction, so I ain't gonna do too much talking. We might do a little more talking than we did in yesterday's video throughout the video, though, so prepare yourself. But enough with the chit chat. Let's do what we all came here for. Let's get into the video. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The name of Jesus did not come into existence until the 1600s, because that's not his name. His name is Yeshua HaMashiach, Yeshua or Yahashua, the Christ. So that's a powerful question, because people don't know, but yet they're unknowingly placing curses upon themselves, knowing enough about a subject to think you're right, but not enough about the subject to know you're wrong.
I think I just found one of the biggest natural disaster cover-ups in American history. Okay, so do we all remember the massive wildfires in Los Angeles earlier this year? Well, the picture that you're looking at right now is not that. This is actually a picture from another wildfire that started 6 days earlier in the exact same spot. That's right, a small but not insignificant brush fire broke out the morning of January 1st that was supposedly very quickly put out. These are the side-by-side photos from the 1st and the 7th. You can see that they're in the exact same spot. Here's the overhead map. Once again, both fires starting in the exact same spot, just right outside this.
What are the chances?
Area. Now, according to a tweet posted by the LA Fire Department on the morning of January 1st at 4:48 a.m., that fire was supposedly fully contained. But was it actually fully put out? Because according to reports, quote, over the next 6 days, from January 2nd to January 6th, residents living along Calle Germain, Lockman Lane, and Upper Palisades Drive, that's the neighborhood of the map that we were looking at, they continue to observe smoke wisps drifting from the original ignition site. These sightings, reported through 311, local neighborhood watch alerts, and social media, were consistently dismissed as post-fire haze. Another report, this one from CBS News, cited a man named Zane Mitchell who was hiking along the path where the fire started, called Temescal Ridge Trail, and he noted that the ground by the Lockman Fire's burn scar were, quote, still smoldering. Here's a picture that he took that morning, ground clearly still smoldering. Now, I did some quick research, and according to wildfire experts, lingering hotspots can, quote, reignite under favoring conditions. And we know for a fact that's exactly the conditions that we saw in the coming days. Now, we're not done yet. I got more evidence for you. These images are from NASA's Sentinel-2 satellite, which showed that there were persistent heat signatures left by the January 1st fire. Okay, so you can see this image here from December 28th, 2024. Everything looks green. And then on January 2nd, that exact same spot is now red, suggesting that indeed the fire was not fully put out. And not doing proper thermal imaging after a fire is against protocol, and that's something that the city allegedly did not do. Now, of course, nobody, not the fire chief, not Karen Bass, certainly not Gavin Newsom, can admit any of this because it necessarily means possible criminal negligence. Okay, we're talking deaths, property loss, damages into the hundreds of billions of dollars for breach of protocol and not properly extinguishing a previous fire, which at this point maybe explains why the city has still refused to release records regarding the LA Fire Department's actions leading up to the fire. Specifically, they've denied dozens of public records requests from journalists related to the handling of the fire, which includes 911 calls, dispatch logs, and internal communications about preparations. LA's Deputy Fire Chief Everett also expressed skepticism that the Palisades fire was sparked by rekindling of the earlier blaze, saying, quote, that fire was dead out. But was it? Let me know what you think.
The rumor about y'all smoking Tupac ashes, is there any truth to that or no?
Yeah, we talking truth, man. I'm gonna tell you what happened. It was the day of Pac's memorial in Malibu, California. Private ceremony, close friends, family, his mom, everybody. We get back to the crib. We in his room, you know. He's gone. He just died. We're actually in his bedroom. We're smoking, we're drinking. and we're just trying to numb the pain. We're sitting there and we're listening to Black Jesus, the song. It's unreleased. Nobody heard none of these songs yet. And we listening to it. It's our brother that just passed away. We hearing him different now. You know what I mean? In the verse, he says, we die clutching glasses, filled with liquor and blasted. Cremated last wishes, smoke my ashes. So mind you, we in there just minding our business. We hear him say that, and everybody kind of like looked at each other. We hear him Pac saying, cremated last wishes, nigga, smoke my ashes. We heard what he said, man. You know?
I don't know about that one.
When I was tincture potion that I got, I would say probably when I was around 12, my dad flew me to go meet with this witch who lived in the mountains, and she made this specifically for me. She told me that it would make a young Canadian pop star fall in love with me. So yeah, I've been taking this one for years. Absolutely love it. And yeah, thanks, Dad.
Right in our faces.
Bill.
The problem was how to take a painting and make it behave like a real piece of scenery under the camera. The trouble was we were photographing a flat two-dimensional background. The different elements in the scene were separated according to their varying distances from the viewer. This put the moon on a plane farthest away from the camera. With our original picture broken down in this manner, it is possible to control the relative speed with which each individual part of it moves to or away from the camera. Of course, our cartoon camera does not shoot sideways, but is placed above and shoots downward toward the drawing. Since this new camera used many planes, we called it the multiplane camera. And here now is our same moonlight scene the way the multiplane camera sees it. As you can see, we finally got the moon to keep its proper distance. Perhaps an outstanding example of this occurs in the opening scenes of our cartoon feature, Bambi. Here we see the multiplane camera crew preparing to shoot that scene. Here are the planes for that scene, each with its own separate part of the background painted in oil on glass. Each of these background planes is placed on one of the levels under the camera. The camera operator, looking down from the viewpoint of the camera, sees all the levels combined as one picture. From his view, we can see how each level or plane can move independently of the others. The feeling of depth is not actually too evident when the scene is under the camera. You might be thinking that it looks as flat as the old-fashioned type of cartoon background. In fact, it does while it holds still. The trick of the multiplane camera is movement.
Did y'all see what just happened in China? A whole city wiped out by water. Things are really starting to look very revelatic.
That's not even a real word.
Yeah, I just made it up. But that seems to be the best way to describe this. 80,000 people evacuated and 50,000 people completely relocated. They're saying the storm surge of the water got up to 36 foot or 11 meters. That's insane. I mean, could you even comprehend water going 36 foot like above your house? Who really knows what the problem is or why things are just so crazy right now? Our oceans and our bodies of water and our animals are literally suffering right now. This that you're seeing right here is an anomaly map. It takes the average temperature and shows you how much higher it is than usual. And this black means 5 degrees Celsius. And here's a different one, again, anomaly map, showing up to 3 degrees Celsius different than usual. Do you understand how bad that is? Now the whole Earth, anomaly map. Do you see, once again, the dark red, 3, 4, 5, do you see how much harder it is? And right here you can see 100 years of weather patterns. We are well above our highest top. And completely unrelated, not relevant whatsoever, check out this cool article. Pretty cool, right? And by the way, when you're arguing with trolls in the comments, just know they might not be trolls. There are bot farms all over the world. And they got narrated the bush.
So Tokyo, out of nowhere, was experiencing a very coordinated, simultaneous, multi-point assault. It was carried out at virtually the same moment, and they were all pretty far apart in the city. However, they were all converging in on the center of Tokyo. The original goal was that this would spread throughout central Tokyo. However, due to some chemical mixing and just how the incident unfolded, that was not necessarily the case. First reports came in from these subways, and then very quickly, one station after another, cries for help are starting. By the end of that day, 15 subway stations in the world's busiest subway system at the time had been affected. One station alone had 300 to 400 casualties, people involved. The number of injured in the attacks was just over 5,400 people. Think about that number and that happening anywhere near you, in your jurisdiction.
Come to California, the land of paradise where
safety is our biggest concern. Emotional and mental health is a major priority.
law and order is paramount. We love America! Love is everywhere.
And peace is found right here, every day.
We love California. We love California.
We love California.
We'll see you here soon.
What a beautiful state it was once, y'all.
Have you prepared for this?
I am all prepared.
What are your thoughts on this?
I ain't no easy answers. Let me throw that out to you. I don't have a magical solution. I wish I did. I don't. I don't know the answer to your question. Admittedly, it is complicated. I don't have the magic answer. Okay, I don't have the answer to that question.
That's the problem.
What does it mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? So, and again, please, these are complicated issues. I surely don't have all the answers. What was they saying? You know, right now, where is it? I think, don't quote me on this, maybe in Norway.
So,
all right, I'm gonna plead ignorance. Again, I'm trying to think here, and I wish I had better answers for you. I mean, it's a great question. I don't have the easy answer to it. No, I don't know. Yeah, who knows? I cannot tell you. But the answer is yes and no. But
would you agree with that?
I don't have those details. I don't know that I agree with your analysis of it. I don't know enough. I can't remember. It was I honestly don't remember. Hate is based on ignorance.
Command, this is Enola Gay. We are approaching the initial point. Over.
Roger, Enola Gay. Confirm weather conditions and visibility over Hiroshima. Over.
Weather is clear and visibility is excellent. Command, wind speed at altitude is within acceptable parameters for bomb release. Over.
Confirm payload status, Enola Gay. Over.
Little boy is secure and armed. Safety mechanisms have been disengaged. Over.
Do you imagine, y'all? Do you imagine? Seeing that go over you?
Enola Gay to command. We are currently at 31,000 feet. Adjusting course for final approach. Over.
You are cleared to proceed, Enola Gay. We need to hit the Ioi Bridge for maximum impact. What's the payload status? Over.
Payload is ready for deployment. Maintaining speed and altitude for optimal drop trajectory. Over.
Godspeed, Enola Gay. Command out.
Hope this is not copyrighted. Hope you guys are watching this right now.
Enola Gay to command. Bomb away.
Roger that, Enola Gay. Begin post-release maneuvering protocol.
You can see this is apparently Mount Sinai. There's video footage of all this. The top is still burned. Became a type of a volcanic glass like obsidian or something. It actually burned the rock. There's also apparently the altar that Aaron made with a golden calf. They made the golden calf on the altar, but on the side of the altar, they drew a picture of a calf or cow. Still there. God told Moses to smite the rock and water would come out. A lot of folks think this is the rock that Moses smote. That rock sticking up on that mountain is 5 stories tall. 50 feet to the top of that rock, as tall as these trees around here. And it's split right down the middle. On both sides there are erosion marks. Water came pouring out of that rock. We have sulfur balls. I've got some here on the table. These are actual sulfur balls from Sodom and Gomorrah. They're 99.9% sulfur and they're burned out. These sulfur balls specimens were tested by Michael Bonilla, a friend of mine up in New York. He said they were 97.4% pure sulfur when he had them tested. Millions of these sulfur balls are over there, right in that one area. It literally rained burning sulfur. So hot that it took the bricks of the city and baked it into ash. No place else in the world has these phenomena. We've got hundreds of them in our museum out here. Sulfur balls from Sodom and Gomorrah.
Let's talk about China.
All right, let's talk about it.
So it is testing season. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, the students are taking I believe it's called the Gaokao University entrance exams. So these are to get into university in China.
Okay, how many kids?
13.5 million kids take it.
So that's just like for the kids that are basically like our equivalent of seniors. Or juniors.
Juniors, probably.
Yeah. Okay, and so rough equivalent, I don't know if you have this.
SATs,
Yeah, sure. What do you
2
think?
million, just under 2 million.
Okay.
So there's your comparison.
Yeah, definitely no issue there. Moving on. Right. So really interesting, right? The major, just like here in the United States, we've got ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude, right? The Chinese have many proficient models, some of which have made their way over to the U.S., like DeepSeek. But there are several, like ByteDance has one, Tencent has one, Alibaba has one. There's a company called Moonshot that's got one. So what have these models done with respect to this testing season?
They have temporarily disabled specific AI functions while this test is going on in the country. In China, they did this purposefully. And so when students tried to upload exam questions or use these features, they received messages such as, during the college entrance examination, according to relevant requirements, the question answering service will be suspended. Or, to ensure fairness in the college entrance examination, this function cannot be used during the test period.
That's so interesting. So they basically have a custom built guardrail that has a time bracket around it.
Yep.
When a kid is using something that looks like it's related to the assessment, it just says no go.
Right. Even if they're not actually taking the assessment at that time.
Huh.
Right? Like, so
practicing.
Right. Practicing at home.
So interesting.
It's like shut down for that time period.
The fallen angel statue discovered in Russia.
What?
This is the creepiest thing I've seen in a good minute. There's these dudes, Russian dudes. They work in a gravel quarry or something, and they're just digging, and they found this ginormous statue of this crazy, evil-looking angel with its like hood down, but like its eyes, and it's these giant wingspan things, and it's like holding a shield, and it was kneeling. And it's these dudes standing up beside this statue. Their heads didn't even go past the statue's head, and it was kneeling down.
Ew.
And it looks, the detail on it is like exquisite. Like it looks like a angel or man thing.
Oh, wow.
That was like frozen in time, like fell in a concrete bath or something. And so what does that mean?
Sounds like the start to a scary movie. They're gonna go put it in a lab and they're gonna soak it in like acid or something.
That's a scary. No,
yeah, that's.
Have you heard of the Terracotta Army?
Yeah.
In China,
yeah.
Dude, that is crazy.
The fallen.
promise you, it is so hot out here right now. I had to pull over and like go on a break or a lunch because you know how when you falling asleep or like if you cuddling or whatever and your arm start to go to sleep, so it start to feel like, you know, feel like it's going to sleep. I start feeling that in my whole body, like in my chest, and I'm like, oh shit, this is giving like, I don't know if it's giving like stroke, like this shit never happened to me before. So I'm just like, let me pull the fuck over, drench myself with water and all that other shit. Drink water. I had a big ass bottle of Essentia water. Customer just gave me this. I'm in front of her door right now. Said all that to say, delivery drivers, be safe out here. Yo, be safe out here.
Anybody out there dealing with that? Let me know down below. How's that heat wave? I've been hearing a lot about it. Out where I'm at right now, we had some bad rain the other day. 3 inches, y'all, close to 3 inches overnight. It was pouring. It was flooded everywhere. But let me know how that heat wave's going, y'all. It's a nice 80 degrees out here right now. Now, I'm from Arizona, so we deal with 115-degree weather, but we're not dealing with that 60% humidity, 70% humidity. You know what I mean? It's a dry heat. It's still hot, but that humidity, man, that does something to you guys. So let me know how it's going out there. How's that heat wave, y'all? Y'all staying hydrated?
Be careful on what I'm about to say, but this is my opinion on the 5 biggest scams Americans live with today. And I might add a 6th, just to be facetious. Please in the comments tell me if I missed one of the major 5, though. First, the education system is one of the biggest scams in America today. Founded by John D. Rockefeller, where he said he would love a nation of workers, not thinkers. And then they give us their education system and educating us on things that are not modern day practical and how to sustain living in the system that they create. Like, not whatsoever any type of financial literacy. Let's go to 2.
Before he gets into 2, y'all, think about how evil that is. How evil, selfish is that? We don't want a nation of thinkers. We don't want people to be happy, pretty much. We want you guys to do what's best for us. So we're going to create this education system to turn you guys into employees. Like, think about how evil that is, y'all. What type of person is that? That's the devil, y'all. That's the devil. Like, that is just some crazy way of thinking. I don't want these people to be a free thinker like I'm a free thinker, right? Saying Rockefeller is. I want them the opposite. I want them all to work for me. I want it all. That's crazy, y'all.
I have to say, one of the biggest scams that we've been propagated with. I used to love this document. I used to believe in this document. I used to be a person that was very patriotic to this document. But you see your rights get violated anytime you have any type of contact with a public servant.
You do.
I'm going to stop right there. You know. Freedom! The biggest scam in the fucking world. Freedom. How many of y'all feel free to do what you want, when you want, where you want? Yeah? I dare y'all to say y'all feel free. How many of y'all gotta go to work tomorrow? How many of y'all gotta go to work tomorrow? And if you don't go to work tomorrow, what would happen? Does that sound like freedom? How many of y'all actually live y'all dreams and are missing y'all children's lives? How many do y'all really even know what's going on in your children's lives? Because you can't, because you have to go to work just to make sure you have a box. Another one of America's biggest scams, freedom. The Federal Reserve Bank. One of the, if not the most biggest scams in America. The American dollar. It is a security. If you know, you know. Also, the Federal Reserve is nor federal nor reserve. It's a privatized Semitic bank. Interesting. You always wonder why we send our money over to Israel? Because it's their money, really. They created it and gave it to us as a debt instrument. What happens when you're in debt? Oh, you're in servitude. Hence the whole freedom thing, right? Last but not least, the voting system. You really believe you guys are selecting your presidents? You really believe you are selecting your senators, your House of Representatives, your governors, your mayors? Look around your town. How long has your mayor family sat in the seats? I know up here, it's been one family that always wins the mayoral race. Look around. Start asking questions. I'm dead serious. Two-party systems, scam. They gave us those two-party systems that we argue over instead of actually fixing the problem. 5 of the biggest scams in America. You know, I'm gonna add a 6th because a lot of this will definitely ring true. You're perpetrated to believe you are innocent until proven guilty. Not with bail reform. It's really guilty until proven innocent, which is the modern day plantation. Cheap labor. Categorization of making you a felon, so therefore you cannot travel into other countries, and therefore you always stay part of the workforce in that country. Hence why the judge is a representation of the banks, if you did not know. Message! 5 scams. Peace to gods.
That's crazy. About as crazy as the Dallas Mavericks having a less than 2% chance of getting #1 pick and getting it. In a situation like this, it's just crazy that it keeps happening this way. Just like when the Chicago Bulls had a less than 2% chance to get a #1 pick, then they got Derrick Rose, the hometown hero.
I can't believe you're sitting here saying that the Mavericks got Cooper Flag dropped in their lap because they were so incompetent to trade you Luka for nothing.
I mean, it is crazy that trade happened on the 17th anniversary of the Pau Gasol trade, too. That's just a crazy coincidence. Isn't it also weird that Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, and Damian Lillard in the Eastern Conference all had the same injury, all wore the number 0, and all had on pink shoes? I'm not saying anything. It's just a crazy coincidence. Wow. We're probably going to get somebody new in the Eastern Conference to get to the Eastern Conference Finals because these top teams are losing their stars.
And that happened because the association
wants
the
I'm
Knicks
not
to win.
Anything. I'm just saying it's a crazy coincidence.
The whole concept of where does this happen?
Bro,
Where they get together? They get together. Is it on a Zoom?
I don't think there's a meeting. I just think everything's a crazy coincidence. Like when the NBA gave up the New Orleans franchise and they got a new owner, then they just got #1 pick. Or then when Anthony Davis wanted to go to LA and then they got #1 pick for Zion. Or then when Minnesota got rid of Kevin Love and then they got #1 pick. Or as many times as the Cleveland Cavaliers got #1 pick after losing LeBron. It's just crazy. It's a crazy coincidence. My goodness. All these first-time NBA champion franchises, these DEI titles. Yeah, that's right. It's crazy. Wow. It's crazy.
DEI titles?
Yeah, bro. Everybody gets a title now.
Wow.
Not in my NBA.
Yeah.
Bring back the
dynasty.
Make dynasties great again.
3 would be in Miami this weekend.
Bring back the anti-woke NBA.
This shocks a lot of people, but there are simple ways to improve your indoor air quality, and one of
Real quick, I didn't know that. I didn't catch that. They all wore 0, which they do. Tatum, Lillard, Halliburton, they all wore 0. All in the Eastern Conference. Wore pink shoes. There's no coincidence, y'all. It's a show. It's a show. It's entertainment. He's probably got his feet kicked up on the beach right now with his lady. You know what I mean? You sacrifice this, you'll be rich forever.
taking off your shoes, not wearing your outside shoes in your home. That doesn't mean you have to go barefoot. You can wear slippers, you can wear other shoes that are specifically meant to stay indoors. And that's because shoe soles are vectors for fecal material, poop, pathogenic bacteria and viruses, heavy metals, industrial chemicals, pesticides. Things that are outside should stay outside.
But didn't we used to live outside as a species?
Right, but when we lived outside, there weren't all these cars and factories that were spewing all of this exhaust all over the place.
Sometimes the truth can sound stranger than a lie. I've been telling you. Contaminated meat. Tests find supermarket products contain DNA from animals not on the label. Look at the title. Now go look it up. People's gonna come in here and challenge it. I got proof all day. Food ain't what they're telling us, y'all. See, they got rid of a lot of the farmers. If y'all don't remember, a lot of the billionaires in China and Bill Gates was going around buying up farmland. They did that intentionally. They did that where they could introduce this. I know some of the stuff that I say might confuse you, but when I'm backing it up every day, I'm not coming on here telling you nothing that I don't got plenty of articles about. They are admitting to you right here. Animals that's not on the label? Like, what do you mean? They're getting away with this.
Yeah, that is
not
crazy.
only that, they just did away with the people who oversees this. The government just did it. They cut their funding. We have to be vigilant. We have to be aware, and we got to pay attention. You can't keep stuffing your mouth with food. You have to eat just what you need. And you really got to research everything you put in your mouth. And I mean that. God bless you.
We got proof. I'm about to show you undercover footage proving that there are American students on college campuses in the United States who work for Israeli intelligence, reporting back everything that they see and hear.
I have my fake Facebook that I follow, like all the SJP accounts. I have like some fake name. My name is Jay Bernard or something. So it just sounds like an old white guy, which is the plan. I joined all these groups. A lot of people haven't added me. Gathering intel and reporting back to Israel. That's a lot of what I do. Is report back to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Strategic Affairs, and like make sure they have the right information. It's in Knesset of like what's going on here. So that's why I do a lot of like reporting. I talk to people from tons of organizations, just trying to get the information that I could to report back. Kind of like just talk through some of the issues with those people, see what their plan was, tell them maybe some ideas we've had, give them our support. That behind the scenes way. I write a report that I give to my boss who translates it. It's really weird. We don't like talk to them on the phone or like email or whatever. There's like a special like server that's like really secure that I don't have access to because I'm an American. You have to have like clearance to access the server. It's called cables. It's not even sitting in Hebrew. It's like literally cables. I've seen it. It looks really bizarre. So I write reports that my boss translates into the cables and sends them, and then they'll send something back, and he'll translate it and tell me what I need to do.
And we just allow this. Why? Imagine any other country, China, Russia, whoever else, with known operatives infiltrating U.S. universities. Probably a good idea for all Americans to really reflect on what the hell is going on here.
You think artificial intelligence is not a threat, but the creator of OpenAI, which is the most famous artificial intelligence company in the world, walks around with a backpack with a kill switch for the artificial intelligence in case it gains consciousness and takes over the world at any second. This is the person that created ChatGPT, by the way. He walks around with a backpack with a kill switch for the artificial intelligence because he's worried that it'll gain consciousness. You think
is deeper than our Grand Canyon. These things look like they had a galactic spark lightning strike between the two of them.
Interesting.
And that's what really created it. And
this is a big deal. This was designed. You think Chick-fil-A's designed for addiction? This was highly intentional. Phone in its settings tells you how far it has to be off of your body to prevent cancer. It tells you if you go to your settings to general, you scroll all the way down to legal and regulatory. Who knew this was in the BIOS? Do you see it?
I'm in it.
Legal and regulatory, click it. The very bottom one says RF exposure. That stands for radio frequency exposure. And then it tells you, mine is on the second paragraph. This must be 5 millimeter separation off of your body. It's about a pencil eraser. So they're covered when you get brain cancer because you put your phone to your head.
I always speak on speakerphone.
You bet you do. Distance is your friend with radio frequency, with electromagnetic fields. But they just came out with a study. It just literally, the further this is away from you, the better. We're seeing a higher rate of testicular cancer on young men because they put their phone. Get your phone out of your pocket. Get it away from your testicles.
That's crazy.
Yes. So back when these were smaller and women put them in their breast, we saw breast cancers the shape of that lithium battery in there. This is radioactive. So you get it off your person. You speak on speakerphone with it, right? You don't put it up your head. You for sure don't have it on your head driving down a road in a metal tube where it's having to work super hard to find a cell signal. So it's putting out more electromagnetic fields. This is
like, I've made a mental note to not, I put it in my pocket. Like if I'm walking from here to my car or in the grocery store, I guess I still put it in my pocket, y'all, but not as much. I do make sure like when it is in my pocket, like if I'm driving, I'll put it on the seat or whatever. But it's crazy how like we adapt, because for so long we talked on the phone like this. Like who still talks on the phone like that? I don't know the last time I talked on the phone like this. Always on speakerphone. It's crazy how like, I don't know, our subconscious just adapts to these things, because we always talked on the phone like this. Even when we had speaker on the flip phones, I always talked on the phone like this, right? But these are so bad for us that I don't know if we just adapt or what, but we talk like this now. I don't know. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty crazy to think that, did we adapt or what? Because that's doing what it does to us. And I never really see anybody talking on the phone like that.
About 1% difference in DNA between humans and chimps. Yet we like to think of ourselves as highly superior intellectually to the chimp.
Right.
The smartest chimp. Bring them forward, and what do? They'll stack boxes to reach a banana. Our toddlers can do it.
Right.
But those are the smartest chimps. If the smartest chimp equals our toddler, and there's only 1% difference in DNA between us.
Right.
If we go 1% beyond us in that same vector of intelligence, they'll take Stephen Hawking, and they'll say, this human is slightly smarter than the rest because he can do astrophysics calculations in his head.
Right.
Like little Timmy over here who just came home from alien preschool.
Right.
The toddler. The smartest human does what their toddlers can do.
Right.
Their average people will have thoughts. They will have sentences that will rise above and beyond our most brilliant capacity to understand.
Catholic school. Catholic school means, again, not for you. I know you're an enlightened guy, whatever. Catholic school meant our parents are racist.
Right.
And they can't afford good private school.
That's what it is.
So they can scrape together $3,000 a year instead of $12,000 a year for their kids to learn never have sex, being gay is fake. You go to a school where they say God created Earth. You pay for that.
I send my kids to Catholic school so I can technically look you in the eye and say my kids go to private school, but only I know the truth. But I'm not actually lying to you. If you ask a follow-up question, I'm
The city evicted over 1,800 families from their homes, using police to drag residents out at gunpoint, all to build a stadium for a wealthy baseball team. The story starts with good intentions gone wrong. In the early 1950s, LA actually planned to build public housing. They were going to do this in Chavez Ravine to help families in need. You can see on our map where this neighborhood used to be, but the project quickly fell apart when critics called it creeping socialism. Politicians caved to pressure, abandoning plans that would have helped the people they later kicked out. And just when the residents thought they could stay in their homes, the city pulled the ultimate bait and switch. They set their sights on Chavez Ravine, a vibrant Mexican-American neighborhood. Dodger Stadium emerged as an architectural marvel, but at what cost? Public protests erupted as residents were literally dragged from their homes, creating images that still haunt the stadium's legacy today. Yet somehow, this dark chapter conveniently gets edited out of the stadium's official story.
Of course.
Dodger Stadium stands as both an achievement and warning. Progress that came at the expense of an entire community. The families who once called Chavez Ravine home saw their neighborhood completely erased, their stories buried under concrete and grass.
If you have young kids, for God's sake, do not give them an iPad or a phone. We've all discovered that an iPad or a touchscreen phone is an incredible pacifier. It works. 40% of American 2-year-olds have their own iPad. 2-year-olds. Don't do that, because what that does is now the child will never be bored again. If the child is bored for even 30 seconds, they scream for the iPad, and you're going to have to give it to them. So don't start them. And if you started, take it away. It'll take about 3 or 4 weeks for the brain to adapt. But I'm hearing stories now about kids in preschool. They cry at drop-off, not because mom is leaving, but because the iPad is leaving. And they were on the iPad in the car, and they can't be taken away from the iPad because of the addiction processes.
So everyone with...
Y'all, this thing's crazy, y'all. This thing, I say y'all a lot. I get a lot of comments, why do you say y'all? Because I'm not just talking to one person. I'm talking to all y'all, you know what I mean? But these things are so addicting that we're just used to it. We don't see how addicting it is, but my son... Like, I'm laying in bed, he's going to sleep. It's bedtime, right? I'm falling asleep. So I'll be on YouTube. I'll look over at him, hooked on it. You know what I mean? And I know I'm going to get those comments. You need to put the phone down and spend time with your son. You only get it once. Shut up. Shut up. Right? But it's crazy how addicting these things are. Like, when we're driving and he gets cranky, Mama Bear tries to give him the phone. I'm like, no. We have a rattle. We have this toy. You got keys in your pocket. Shake the keys. Sure enough, that does the job. It does the job. It gets his mind occupied off of the car ride and sweating in the car seat. But it's so easy for people to give these things to their kids. And this is, like he said, the ultimate pacifier, y'all. Don't do it. I'm going to try so hard to fight it for as long as possible, y'all.
Eyes descends from the same person. So at one point in human history,
one person had a change in their eye color. And it's just like amazing to imagine this person who had blue eyes for the first time. And then through many generations, probably because that was a very attractive and interesting feature in that individual, you know, that spread throughout human population.
So there was a blue-eyed
banged
F1,
everybody.
as we say.
That's right.
Yeah, the first.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told that the green eye phenotype is one of the more rare eye colors. Is that true?
I think that's right. Yeah, I think it's the most rare.
Okay, so, and can we assume that there was an original F1 brown-eyed person that gave rise to the entire lineage of brown eyes subsequently?
Yeah, I think in the history of humans as a species, I think that was our original eye color. And so then, yeah, having these other eye colors arise in the population created these events. I think green eyes, if I'm not mistaken, there were multiple people, you know, that comes from different genes from different individuals in the history of humans. But yeah, blue eyes is just this one individual.
I realize I'm slightly remiss on the statement about eye color not being subject to behavior. We know that as you get more sunlight exposure, in particular ultraviolet light exposure, that eyes will darken.
Is that right?
Regardless of where they start.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like a blue-eyed baby will have much bluer eyes at birth than it will at age 15, at age 80, for instance.
Yeah.
And we believe that's due to changes in pigmentation because of UV exposure.
So y'all saw what was floating over the ocean in Sydney, Australia this weekend, right? The black, terrifying mass that was just floating over the ocean? No? Well, if you haven't, don't worry. I'm going to show you at the end of this video, those videos, so stay for that. But yeah, in Australia this weekend, a dark, black, ominous, terrifying mass-like cloud was just seen and videoed floating over the ocean. Now, I did a little bit of research because obviously scientists are going to say that it's of natural causes, and it's something called a scud cloud. But I'm going to tell you what I believe. I believe it's a portal opening, and I believe it's something from another dimension breaking through. Now, you don't have to believe what I'm saying. You make up your own mind when you see the video, but the video looks very similar to other things that I've seen when I've been going down rabbit holes about portals opening. But I'm not here to tell you to believe one thing or the other. You make up your mind. That's not my call. However, also in Australia, they just confirmed that they're building the world's first black box to record the demise and destruction of the Earth.
What?
So, over the weekend, coming out of Australia, we have this black-like cloud just floating over the ocean, you'll see, and now Australia is creating the world's black box that's going to record our destruction. Now, remember, anything we talk about is for education, conversation, learning, and entertainment purposes only, so take what you will, leave what you don't want.
Bro, so much has happened while we were all focused on the war in Iran. Liver King was arrested in a hotel in Austin, Texas, and now faces charges of terroristic threats after he traveled to the city to try and fight Joe Rogan. Next, for the first time in 12 years, PewDiePie is no longer among the top 10 most subscribed to channels on YouTube. Next, America is facing a heat wave so intense that dozens of people have been hospitalized, roads are buckling, and multiple heat records have been broken. New York recorded its highest temperature in over 13 years, and New Jersey had to declare a state of emergency after 150 people fell ill at an outdoor graduation. It was labeled a mass casualty event. Next, talking about New York though, today in a huge political upset, 33-year-old Zohran Mamdani won the primary for New York mayor, and if elected, he will be the first Muslim and Indian American to be mayor in the country's history. Next, the prosecution has now rested their case against Diddy, meaning they've laid out all the evidence they've got against Diddy, and it's now the defense's turn to convince the jury that Diddy is innocent. Next, a 22-year-old tourist from Norway has accused the US of denying him entry into the country because he claimed that he had a bold JD Vance meme on his phone. And now this picture is everywhere. However, the Department of Homeland Security denied this. They cited that the Norwegian's admitted drug use was the real reason he was denied entry. Next, Carmelo Anthony has been formally indicted by a Texas grand jury for first-degree murder. And because of the charges and the fact that he's being tried as an adult, Carmelo faces up to life in prison. And remember, an indictment means that a grand jury has formally accused someone of a crime after reviewing evidence presented by prosecution for weeks. Next, tragically, the rescue efforts to save 26-year-old Brazilian pole dancer Juliana Morins has failed. She was hiking on a mountain in Indonesia when she fell 1,000 feet into the crate of a volcano. It was miraculous that she survived the fall, but she also ended up surviving a further 4 days, praying that rescue teams could arrive in time. Unfortunately though, today she succumbed to her injuries. Next! And then lastly, the UK has announced that they are buying 12 F-35 planes from the United States, which are capable of carrying nuclear weapons. Not only are they some of the most advanced jets in the world, but also some of the most expensive as well. Woo! As the news keeps rolling, I'll keep you guys updated.
All right, family. There you have today's video. Cut it short today. Mama Bear's already on the way home. I was not prepared for this. I was expecting 4 o'clock to get out. It's 11 o'clock. She's already on her way home. So I got to get a lot of things done. Thought I'd cut this short, y'all. Don't worry. I'm going to take a couple days off, y'all. Take a couple days off. You guys get your minds right. Get outside. I'll be back on Sunday with an hour banger for you guys. Give you guys an update how the trip went. I'll be sure to show some pictures on my YouTube community for you guys. We're heading up to a cabin up north, so I'm gonna spend a long weekend over there, y'all. It's gonna be nice, y'all. I'm well needed. I need a good getaway. I'm excited. I'm gonna try to get some trail runs in out while I'm out there, y'all, and just enjoy the nice weather. So I hope everyone out there has a good weekend. Stay safe. Get that Uber. This is Segovia. I'm signing out of the man cave. I'm gonna see you guys on Sunday for another banger. Later.